Welcome into DC on Screen. We are covering, in this episode, Legends of Tomorrow 216 Doomworld. We're going to get super spoilery on it. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hey.
To recap, Ray is a janitor, Nate's a conspiracy theorist, Sara and Amaya are henchwomen, and Jax and Stein are in corporate research hell. After a fallout with Snart, Mick rescues Nate, and they slowly rebuild the memories of the team with some handy PalmerTech. They infiltrate Star Labs, where Eobard has set up shop as a super scientist to steal the Spear of Destiny. After a battle with the Legion, Vixen is killed, and the Spear is destroyed, and everyone but Eobard is mad about it. The Legends decide they have no choice but to visit a previous point in their own timeline to stop this reality. Meanwhile, Gideon snaps Rip out of his rum-flavored baking bender so they can send a distress signal. By the way, that's a good one. Rum-flavored baking bender. Mm-hmm. Let's try saying that once.
Yeah. I thought you made it through it pretty well, actually. You weren't thinking about it. You just went for it.
Oh, I was thinking about it.
That was my favorite part of this episode, Rip.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to admit, I mean, that's probably that's similar at least to what I would do if I was trapped on a ship for possibly my lifetime.
It was weird because that may have been my favorite part of the episode, but that was the dumbest part of the episode. It made me feel like I didn't feel like that fit with the rest of the show.
Well, in this instance, it didn't have to. He's literally just trapped in his own little bubble of time with no contact with the outside world. So he just like resorts to bizarre hobbies. And he comes out with like, I finally got my Fontaine bow tie just right. I was like, I've worked with that stuff. That is quite an accomplishment. And then he did get the funniest line this episode when Gideon finally like pep talks him, and you know she's kind of fixes herself a little bit and says they have to do everything. And gives him his little pep talk and everything. And his line is like, first I'm going to vomit, and second, let's do this. That one got me.
It just feels like Rip is way more proactive than any of that.
Again, when you're literally trapped on a ship and you have no, like he's just stranded and he doesn't think that there is any real chance of like ever being unstranded. I just figured he'd given up hope a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow it just didn't ring true to me. Like the juxtaposition of that performance at for the majority of the episode, and then she's like, by the way, I rewrote some algorithms and now power is going to be diverted in a different way so we can actually do something. He's like, right, here we go. I'm doing this now because I'm better. And I'm like,
whatever.
Couldn't Gideon have said, hey, I'm doing some stuff?
Possibly.
And I'm going to see if this is going to work.
She may have thought it was funny to watch him get drunk and bake.
Yeah, maybe. I think importantly,
she told him when she needed him
that we would think it was going to be funny.
I did, though, in all fairness, think it was funny to watch him get drunk and bake.
It was enjoyable to some degree.
If I'm being true to myself, I have to admit it.
Let's move on.
Okay.
I liked how brutal the Felicity getting her legs broken by Sara and Amaya.
Mm-hmm.
That was rough.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, she done got broke legs.
And then
I was like, oh,
and then a broken neck.
Dead. Yeah.
Oh. And you see that he's got everybody. It's Ragman, Wild Dog, Vigilante, Flash, Spartan, Black Canary, Green Arrow. Now he's adding the Huntress mask up there. Mm-hmm. Which made me wonder though, is Vigilante actually going to be a good guy at some point next year?
I don't know.
It was kind of weird to see his thing up there.
Well, I mean, he was still a vigilante that was trying to take down Dark, you know?
Yeah, true.
I think Vigilante is a good guy to some degree.
Yeah. Now, can I get to two of my major problems real quick?
Sure.
Well, no, wait. I'll do this the other way. I'm going to tell you the two things I enjoyed. Sorry. After Nate, like, baseball bats, Eobard with the Spear of Destiny, that almost high five between him and Dark was pretty funny, I thought.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was great.
And, all right, so they've got Sara, and Dark kind of plays the scene too long. And after they make their little escape, I think it's Merlin says, for what it's worth, I thought it was a very good bad guy monologue.
Mm-hmm. See, I like the previous line. Really? Now's the time for a bad guy monologue?
Yeah.
All of that was fun.
That was. That was good, just good in jokes. But two major problems here. Why can the Spear of Reality, or the Spear of Destiny, same thing really, it fixes reality outright, except parts of the hippocampus?
Yeah.
What the what? You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, scars. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there had to be a way to get it back, right? I mean,
and that's the other thing. The scars. When they pitched us, when they described this spear early on, they said it fixes reality flawlessly. And then in this episode, we're like, there are scars, and also you can subtly remember things if you. Ray can apparently stop playing video games to compulsively build Palmertech somewhere in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. I did like his bit later about like I've scrubbed so many toilets.
Yeah, I think importantly, I think what they should have done was had Rip rescue them just by going back in time and stopping it by deciding to go fold or risk folding time in on itself.
Yeah,
like because I didn't quite buy the scars thing either.
No,
but. Whatever.
They set it up one way, they did it another way. I think it's just not cohesive when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing though,
I understand,
was Vixen again this episode. Just she just moves at the speed of her pen, man. I mean, they don't trust Mick. Mick goes through all this trouble to betray the Legion and reassemble the team, and then they still try to leave him out of the mission.
Yeah. But they shouldn't trust him. Who knows if this is a double cross in disguise?
I don't know.
And it's clear that what we were hoping for last week, that it would be like, oh, it turns out Mick is fake double crossing them. He's trying to get in with the Legion so that he can figure out some stuff. That wasn't even true.
No, it's just he just said he made a mistake.
He just literally betrayed them, and then was like, "Hey, wait a minute,
probably shouldn't have done that." Okay, great.
Throwing them with the bad guys is probably a bad idea.
They went through the trial, it's the line that Ray had last episode where he kind of points out, he's right. We never did really trust him. Well, we'll take the next step, guys. Go ahead and go out on a limb and say, Mick, you're one of us. We trust you. Now, to me, that's where the show should have gone here with the we don't trust Mick thing. Is like, you know what? We're going to go out on a limb and just say, like, you're part of the team outright. I thought that was where we are as far as the beats went, but I had a little problem with it. But the real issue I have with this whole episode was, like, it was a cool fight scene there at the end, right? I mean, It was a neat scene. It's just the blocking and the execution of the last bit. Okay, so Vixen gets the spear and just sits there and talks about it, I guess, for a sec. Like, the entire Legion of Doom is just going to sit there, like, calmly while she recites the thing, and no. I mean, the fighting needs to continue. You need to hold some people hostage. Like, Damien Dark's still sitting over there. He has his magical powers. He could snap her neck where she stood. It just, that was stupid that the fighting stopped. It didn't set it up. Like, I was so worried about how stupid it was that the fighting stopped, that when she got hit with the cold gun, I kind of thought, well, sure, why not?
Yeah, right.
And she's been so waffly the last few weeks. Good riddance.
Yeah. I mean, of course, gotta bring her back.
But then even look at the blocking here. All right, on the far stage left, you've got Snart. In the center middle, you've got Mick right between both groups. Stage right, you've got Vixen. Well, he shoots her. Okay, that can happen from across the stage. That's fine. But then he's standing beside her. So he had to walk past Mick after he shot Mick's friend without anything happening. Mm-hmm. And then it's just Snart standing there with the spear, and you've got all these... It's just Snart. It's just one guy with a gun, and no one's going to go in there and try to take this thing.
Yeah.
That was not at all believable. I mean, I can buy it that Eobard takes over the scene, which, by the way, he had a great speech. He did a good job.
Yeah.
But whole chunks of that climax were just awkward and not believable. Would you agree?
I would. I didn't even think it was believable that without his steel powers, Nate could hit Eobard running at such a high speed and make him fly backwards like that.
I don't know. I just, that at all. Well, some part of me kind of thought like, well, the faster the pitcher is, the harder the ball flies off the bat, which is true. So
put your hand up into a ceiling fan.
I know. I just got, for a second, I was like, I guess the spear is great bat. Awesome. Cool. I don't know. It was a lucky swing, but watch. It was worth it though. I got so distracted watching Dark be like, yeah. Oh my, that high five was great.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm watching Dark and Sara fight, and she has the spear, and I'm like, why is he not using his magic? Earlier in the episode, we see him like lift her in the air, and just she's almost completely incapacitated.
I don't know. It was this is a weird one. This has been a lot to chew the last few weeks with Legends. Oh,
I swear.
I meant to suggest we've done this a couple times. Suggested lines that we think should be retired forever.
Uh-huh.
I got one. You ready?
Sure.
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
Well, yeah.
Would you second that notion?
I want to say yes.
Are you trying to think of like some place where that could still work? Because the only answer is like Archer or something.
I'm trying to think of a better alternative.
I just think that exact set of words should be retired. Like,
I think the situation should be retired.
The situation of people returning
I
after
think
needing to have been killed the first time.
Yeah, I think they should just be killed the first time, and we move on from those characters and say, "Yep, they died. It sucked." But you know what? That bad guy, they should probably be taken more seriously next time because they killed that person that we had grown attached to.
Casting directors would hate you.
Oh.
Right, well, we've got 6 episodes planned. I'm going to need about 400 people.
Look, man, if anything ever happens where I make anything in video form again with any kind of narrative, that's fine. Because it will be like a Louis C.K. like situation where I do it in secret.
Ah, yes.
And then just drop it on the internet with no one knowing anything. Like, I will just spend my own money to make it if I have the money to make it.
Yeah.
And it won't be nearly as good as what he puts out. Like, it will be no Horace and Pete.
No.
That's for sure. No. But, I don't think I can handle dealing with casting directors putting, crappy actors that I don't like into my roles.
Right.
And then telling me I can't kill them.
Because they're popular now. Damn it. I didn't want them there.
I did laugh when Snart said bored now. That was funny. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of Willow on Buffy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, they tossed in another line for those guys. Early scene with those two, Snart suggests that he can have them tossed in Iron Heights and plan an escape just like old times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
little prison break hint, which is coming back soon. That little miniseries or whatever it is.
It is.
For anyone who cares. Did it remind you, though, like, they come out and everyone's like, oh, sorry, Snart. And it reminded me of, like, the Gambler episode of The Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. You remember the one where he always wins and then there's no point to it?
Yeah, I do. I didn't think about it watching this episode, but...
You see it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Actually, what I thought of was, of course... was Star Trek Generations, where Kirk is inside the Nexus and he jumps that whatever it was, that canyon or whatever with the horse, and he goes, every time it scared me until that time, because it isn't real. Go back with me. Help me stop Soren. Anyway.
I don't think I had a lot left, man.
Do you know how infuriating it is to know that Malcolm Merlin was right? Phenomenal
that was a great line.
I like the Legion of Doom, like, headquarters.
Yeah, with the old school shout out.
It totally just looked like the old Legion of Doom headquarters. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Made me very happy. And, people of this show know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like about half of our audience probably thinks that, like, I'm way too easy to please. And the other half thinks that I'm just a dick who's never pleased.
In truth, we're just both these things.
Because
everybody is when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
We all have lovely, hypocritical feelings. There aren't a lot of, like, 100% cogent humans walking around. Those don't really happen.
Well, look, this episode was okay. It didn't live up to the promise that I felt it had. But, on the bright side, Nate's mom does make great sandwiches.
Yeah. Even gluten-free for Ray.
Mm-hmm. So, with that said, we are DC On Screen. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and all the places. Members of the Giant Size Team Up Network, giantsizeteamup.com. A lot of great shows over there. You might like some of those shows if you like this show. We're going to be coming right back with our review of Arrow 518 Disbanded. And until next time, keep some DC on your screen.